Am I the a-hole for telling someone I, 28M, didn't want to babysit my girlfriend, 24F? 2 weeks ago I went to a high school friend's wedding. He's never met my girlfriend but still extended a +1 to me in case she would like to come since he knows of her. I didn't even bother mentioning the +1 to her because I knew she wouldn't want to go. She knows nobody there except for one girl she met one time, Lily, and Lily's boyfriend. The rest of the guest list was just the bride and groom's family plus a bunch of high school friends. Anyway, wedding rolls around and I go. Lily asks me where my girlfriend is and why she didn't come. I said, I didn't want to babysit. I meant it as a joke, as in, if she had come she would be glued to me the entire time as there was nobody else there that she knows. I mentioned it to my girlfriend in passing today and she was visibly upset when I told her that I said that to Lily. She said it makes her look bad. She also said that I should have told her about the invite. I asked her if she would have even gone. She said no. I said, what's the point then? AITA for telling Lily that I didn't want to babysit my girlfriend at a wedding where she didn't know anyone? Edit. Thank you everyone for all the comments telling me how big of an H I am. I needed it. I took my girlfriend out for brunch, had a good talk, and I apologized. I told her going forward I will extend all invitations to her and be careful of saying things that paint her in a bad light. She is an amazing woman and what I said was not cool at all. She accepted my apology and we are good now. To clarify a few things, we've been dating for years. No, we aren't breaking up over this. Yes, we both love each other. She has accompanied me to numerous weddings. I don't force her to always stay at home. I was not trying to meet an old high school girlfriend. The groom invited only male friends from high school, so it was me hanging around my old crew. No girls. The groom isn't going to invite high school girlfriends to his wedding. I truly didn't mean to hurt my girlfriend, but I did, and I accept that what I said was wrong. Thank you. Am I the a-hole for not taking my kids to see my ex's wife in the hospital? My ex's wife of 5.5 years is in the hospital after a miscarriage led to complications and life-saving surgery. I have custody of our kids, 10 and 8, this week and was asked to take them to see her. My kids do not have a good relationship with my ex's wife or my ex, and neither do I, so I said no. My ex was pissed and told me his wife needs all the kids around. They have one together. I still refused. He told me I'm heartless and she has a right to have her family around her. I was not moved and still did not take them. Now for the background. My ex and I broke up when our youngest was 1. He met his wife not long after. They have a very rocky relationship. Lots of cheating on his part. They got married despite the cheating and they hate the fact I don't leave the kids with them and let them pretend to be a family of 5. They had a child together and now they claim there is no breaking up no matter how bad it gets. Unfortunately, between my kids and my ex and his wife telling me details of their relationship, I know far too much. It's toxic but not toxic enough to change custody of my kids in the eyes of the courts. I have tried. Even a therapist thought it would be in my kids' best interest. But they are cared for and that seems to be all that counts. The relationship between me and them is toxic too when we interact, so I keep any and all interactions to a minimum. I document all relevant things that could help with custody. I keep my kids in therapy, ex doesn't take them, and I try to give my kids stability and a safe space to talk. They know their dad's wife is in the hospital. They do not want to see her. My ex's mom also asked me to let the kids go see her. She said this is a hard time and the family should lean on each other during this time. That bettering the relationships are important. Ex reached out again last night and told me he wants the kids at the hospital today. I replied no. He told me I'm trying to destroy the family and should be ashamed and the kids will be there every day when he has them. Am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole for telling my dads he's crazy if he thinks I'm going to his house during the week just to make food for his stepkids? My parents are divorced. I, 16M, now live with mom and visit dad every other weekend. The change happened about a year ago. The judge won't let me stop going on those weekends, but I wish I could. I have a younger brother, 14, and a younger sister, 11. My dad's married and has a stepson, 10, and a stepdaughter, 7. He asked me a couple of weeks ago to come to his house after school and make food for them before going home. He asked this because he found out that I sometimes make food for my siblings when mom works. He asked me about it the next weekend I was over there. He wanted to know why I never did that at his house. I said I just didn't. He told me I could have made food for all 4 of the kids. I told him no, that wasn't happening. He asked why and I said because I don't mind making something for me and my siblings, but I'm not making food for just anyone. He told me his stepkids are my siblings too, just not by blood, and I told him they're not my siblings and I never said they were. Then 2 weeks ago he asked to go and cook for his stepkids after school. This is during weeks my siblings are home with me and mom and weeks they're with him. I told him no and he made that weekend annoying as fuck. My mom told him to leave me alone. I'm a kid, and I already chose not to keep 50-50 custody, so he'd want to cherish the time he has with me. He told mom to shut up. I didn't do what he asked. He then mentioned it to me Sunday, and that's when I told him he's crazy if he thinks I'm going to his house for the week just to make food for his stepkids. He told me if I can do it for my siblings, I can do it for them. I told him I love my siblings. That's why I do it. Then it was like he focused on me calling him crazy, and he said it's not crazy to expect family to treat each other the same and how I'm showing blatant favoritism for my blood siblings and not my siblings through marriage. He told me it's cruel to be so blunt about it. Am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole for waving my passport in someone's face? I, 26M, am British. I am also a dual citizen UK/Ireland. This is important to the story. While traveling, I was staying in a hostel, and a group of us there decided to go out to some bars. One of the group was an American guy, let's call him Jay. For some reason, Jay immediately took against me. It started with a few jokes he made about me being British, which I can take with the bland food bad weather type stereotypes. As the bar crawl kept going, he was getting drunker and making more and more comments. For instance, he just started referring to me as the limey, and was constantly saying things like he celebrated when the Queen died. It was no longer funny and was just all the time making jabs about where I am from. I'm hardly patriotic and will be the first to complain about my country, but there was a point where I was getting offended and it was personally directed at me, started imitating and mocking my accent, etc. Eventually I got annoyed and asked him why he thought he had a right to constantly be dunking on me and what his problem was with Britain. Jay's comment was along the lines of, I'm Irish, so it's allowed for me to constantly hate on Britain. My family came to America because of the famine, and a bunch of other comments like that. At this point I was a bit drunk and had lost my temper, so I responded by waving my Irish passport in his face. I asked him questions like if he had ever actually been to Ireland, knew any family there or knew anything about Irish culture. Which he barely knew anything, didn't know of any family, and the only time he ever spent in Ireland was a week in Dublin. I started lecturing saying that a lot of Irish people had immigrated to the UK, and that after his family spent over 100 years in the United States, he barely had any right to consider himself Irish, let alone think it's acceptable to just hate on random people from another country. The other people on this bar crawl had noticed me losing my temper and laying into the guy and called me an asshole since he was only joking, and it's stupid to play the I'm more Irish than you game and should have just asked him to stop earlier. TLDR. I am British/Irish. American thinks it's okay to constantly insult me because I am from Britain and he is of Irish descent. I wave my Irish passport in his face and tell him that I am more Irish than he is and he doesn't have the right to behave how he is. Am I the a-hole?
Am I the a-hole for asking my ex-husband to help pay for our daughter's medical testing? I got divorced about 6 years ago with 3 kids, at the time 12, and 14. My divorce decree stated we were to split children's medical expenses 60/40. Unfortunately, it did not have an age expiry date or specific language about what was included. Our daughter, F20, has always had vague and persistent health issues, headaches, fatigue, nausea, prone to illness, etc. Over the years, I have taken her to lots of doctors and specialists, and we have not found anything definitely wrong. Her father has always blamed her eating habits and lack of exercise and has never agreed that there could be anything physically wrong. This summer, between her sophomore and junior years in college, I took it on myself to figure out what was wrong. I found a good internal medicine doctor who believed there was a problem and sent her off to specialists to get to the bottom of it. Through months of scans and blood tests, she was diagnosed with Hashimoto's disease and endometriosis. The internist impressed upon us that we had found it so early that there is little to no damage on her ovaries or thyroid, which was great news. The testing was fairly expensive, and I paid all of the copays on my credit card. I asked my ex to pay for part of them, since they were for our daughter's health, and he refused, stating that we had just internet fear-mongered, and that she had made herself sick by not eating properly. He also said he should have been consulted and involved in the process, which our daughter did not want. Am I the a-hole for not making a financial plan and discussing it with my ex-husband before the testing? Thank you so much for watching the video. For more video like this, please subscribe.